Hey everyone, this is just going to be a mini series of tutorials on the basics of Spacebuild, shipbuilding, and some code for E2 as well, just so you can have your ship up and running. This first segment is going to be about Stargates. If you've already watched the series of Stargates, then you can just skip this bit. This is for anyone who, like me, started off playing Spacebuild and then watched Stargate. So, anyway, stargates are used for traveling between different parts of the map, like different planets. Each stargate looks like this. They have a DHD, dial home device, which is basically their power source. Gates that are spawned in with the world, like this one, have unlimited power and can dial anywhere, but if you were to spawn your own gate from the Stargates menu like this, say if we were to spawn, go the movie gate. Spawn two movie gates. Turn them off local so that other gates, like this one's a movie gate. If this was on local, Atlantis and Universe gates couldn't dial here. So let's just call this one gate 1. So now if we go over to gate 2, we can see it there. Notice how it's blurred or grayed out. If we try and dial that, it doesn't work, because it's got no power. Now you can either give it power by going into resource nodes. I'll cover how to get the energy later. I'm just going to use a black hole cache admin only tool to demonstrate. We link the gates up and turn this on. Now we can dial places, but that'll take a lot of power to maintain a gate. So the easiest way to give it power for up to 7 chevrons would be just to give it a DHD. Now spawning in a DHD, it will link automatically to the nearest Stargate. So now we can dial these 7 chevron addresses, but we can't dial these 8 ones. There we go. Now for actually using a Stargate, with one that has enough power obviously, you can either walk up and press the use key, default E, and it'll show you up all of these, and you can just pick one, double click it to dial there. This tick box here is whether it dials like a DHD, or if it's unticked, it will dial like the dialing computer from Stargate SG-1. Now, with it unticked, it's basically a slow dial. Oh, oops. Untick the gate, not the DHD. Anyway, with this unticked, the gate dials very slowly like this, but it is how it would dial if there was a dialing computer being used. Only that's just locked in 1 chevron. So to cancel a dial, just use the either walk up to the gate and press use and then press the cross, or press use on the big red button in the middle of the DHD. Oh. Alright, it's just press the cross there to cancel the dial. And for using this, obviously, as you can see, if you know the address, you can manually put it in like that. I'll show you, I will set... Oops. Let's give this one an address. So, let's say A, B, C, D, E, F. Now this is, you pick the first 6 chevrons you can have, and then the group, just always leave that as Milky Way, it's the easiest to remember. So that would be, if it was a different type of gate from the Milky Way galaxy, say an Atlantis gate, then you would put all of this in, then you would have to put an M. If it was a Universe gate that was quite far away, you'd have to put an M, then an at, and then your point of origin. So this one's A, B, C, D, E, F. So if we're dialing it, since it's only 7 chevrons, we can go A, B, C, D, E, F, and then the point of origin. And then just press the big red button in the middle, and there we have it. So that's what you would use to travel between planets. Now already the map has all these different planets. This one is Zarkal, which is a safe zone, which means no weapons or shield testing here. Everywhere else, those rules don't apply, just don't block the world spawn gate. So we have Trost, which is this planet. Uninhabitable, as you can see. I'll put myself in God mode so I can show you. You would have to collect resources and build a suit dispenser or a climate control to go here. Then we have Aincrad. Which is a cold planet, also uninhabitable. So basically the only habitable planets are Zarkal, the safe zone, and Rhodon and Cydonia. Cydonia is a desert planet, and Rhodon is quite similar to Zarkal. Both Zarkal and Rhodon both have water as well for you to get hydrogen from, which is a very important resource. And that's basically it for gates. And for rings, they're very simple. They can also be spawned in from the gates and rings section on the Stargate tab. We have ancient rings, gold rings, or Goa'uld rings, and Ori rings. Now all these rings can dial to each other no matter what the distance. So here, use it and let's say give this address 1. Use it, give this one an address of 2. And give this one an address of 3. Now you can either use WireMod to dial, or as Wolf just gave me, you can get it from the Misco Weapons tab here. It is the ring collar. Now the primary one, left click, we'll use this and dial the nearest set of rings. And say we use this one, dial the nearest set of rings. And the other one, right click, is for dialing if you... oh, didn't go there. Oh. Don't know what's wrong. Try it from here. Oh. Must just be a bit faulty. Oh. Anyway, so basically for dialing 1, since these are 1, 2, and 3, if you right click, you can select the destination. So say we wanted 2. That would dial there. Huh. Still linked to that one. It's gotta love it when things stop working for a tutorial. Oops. Anyway, you get my point. Try it with 2 the same type of ring. See if that works. 2 ancient rings. Call this one 2. So if we stand in here, right click, put in 2. Wolf saying doesn't think Ori like other gates or rings, so yep, so that one worked fine. So that's basically all you need to know about gates and rings, and that's how you would travel. These rings obviously have unlimited range, so I could throw it away. Throw it away. Over there, I guess. And then click this to dial the left click to dial the nearest gate ring. Since there's no other gates, I'll just dial it. Or if you know the address, right click and then input the number. So that's the end of segment 1. Next up will be segment 2, which covers the basic building of a ship hull. This is segment 2 of episode 1. In this segment we're going to cover how to build a basic ship hull using the tools provided and making sure that it won't cause too much lag. Now, for building ships, you can really build anywhere just so long as it's not in spawn and it doesn't block off a world spawn gate. But it's always best to build in the build base. Now you've got 2 capital bays, which are both the same, this size, meant for building obviously capital ships or big battleships. And we've got these 3 battleship bays. Smaller, but these are probably where you're going to start building. So, for building a ship, the easiest way to do it is in the Tools tab in SBEP. Now you can start with the part assembler. No, part spawner, sorry. Now this is just a list of stuff, like you've got your hulls, which are basically like your hallways and your doors. Not doors are there. Basically this is all your hallways and connecting parts. Like that. And you can change how they look. We change it to that. Or that. There's also that one. Medbridge 2 is that one, which is my personal favourite, and Skybridge. Also, make sure you don't take habitable module. It's quite buggy with Advanced Dupe 2 and doesn't really work great, and also whenever you're walking around and looking at it, you'll have that on your screen. And also notice how it says the owner is world. You can also change whether it's got some glass on it, like that's what it looks like with glass. And that's what it's like without. So basically when you turn on glass, most of these parts end up turning from solid into glass, but obviously the glass isn't breakable. That wouldn't be very good in a spaceship. And now on to the assembler. So say we have... Well, remember and take time to explore all the different parts and what they look like. So let's just start with the station part. There it is. And that. This is the best part for spawning in gates into your ship if you want to have a Stargate. We'll cover how to put that kind of thing in a later episode though. So, got that. Make sure you always freeze the center part, just to make building easier, and also unfreezing ships can cause quite a bit of lag, especially if they're quite large. So, and we say we want to have 2 kind of curved hallways coming out of there. Then we go to the part assembler and right click without to see these points. So these are small blue. These are all small blue as well, which means we can right click to show both parts, then left click to select a joining point, and left click to select it again. Also make sure that these are both ticked in the part assembler to weld and no collide the parts. So right click to show, left click to select, right click show, left click select. And be careful as well, it can cause issues if you were to say you've connected that part there. Try it with this part. Say we've connected that part there. If you want to move it somewhere else, undo the connection, or remove it like this. Otherwise, this kind of thing can happen. See if we connected it down. Connect it at the same point. There, and there. See what happens if this were to be unfrozen for some reason. Didn't do it here probably because the ship's quite clear, but a lot of the time it can cause quite a few issues. So just make sure that you only ever assemble the part to one point. Obviously you can connect things onto this end perfectly fine, but just don't attach a part that's been attached here and then attach it somewhere else again. So back to building. So we want to have a cockpit, so let's use a splitter which can be used to convert points like there and that. That would convert a small blue into a medium, and that converts a medium into a double-decker large. So connect that bit up there. Make sure you always connect everything to the center or to the hull. Don't ever connect the hull to the part there, because this can happen. Now if this were to somehow unfreeze, it becomes really unstable, so we can drag that part out and do that. So always make sure to connect everything to the main hull like this. That bit goes there, then this bit would be connected here. Now for cockpits, they are in the first ship parts that comes up. We will want the double-decker one. Assemble that. There. Now we've got the cockpit and two little side bits. Now, how about we give it a little curved bit here? Nah, too big. We'll go with that. Wait a minute, they're different parts. Oops. There we go. Let's assemble that bit to there, and that bit to there. Oh, up there too big. Go with a bit smaller there. That bit goes there, and that bit goes there. Now with gaps like these are quite easy to fill in because of how well the tools have been designed. So for this, we could, this will probably do it. There. That's all it takes. So let's connect. Now we don't have to worry about connecting it like that, because as long as it's just connected there, it'll act like it's been connected everywhere. So that's just got the back done. Now let's give it, how about we give it another turn and make it glass for either side. And then we can finish it off with, say, a station part. Finish it off with having that on either side. There we go. You've got yourself your basic ship hull. Now for saving them, you want to go to Advanced Dupe 2, right click it, and you should see that. If you want to make sure it's worked, just spawn it in again. There we go. So click it again to make sure. Sometimes it'll turn up like that, just the part you've copied. And the rest will be kind of clustered in the middle there, you see. Just how Advanced Dupe ghosts them sometimes. Once you've done that, then you can just go to Advanced Duplicator 2, right click, new folder. We'll just call this one Tutorial. And then we can save it. Let's give, what should we call this? Tutti. Description, I like to add a description just to keep things categorized. So this would be just an empty hull. There we go. Now whenever we click plus, we can see it there. So now if we were going to spawn this in, let's get rid of this one. Now to spawn this in, we'd go to Advanced Dupe 2, open up Tutorial, and we can either right click and open, like that, or you can double click it. Once it finishes ghosting and says ready, just left click to spawn. There we go. Just be careful though, after you've spawned something in with Advanced Dupe 2, if you were to undo, everything disappears. So what I like to do is just somewhere where it's not going to bother anyone, just spawn in like a buffer barrel. Then we can spawn in Advanced Dupe 2. Wait, no. Ignore me. You spawn in your dupe, then you spawn your buffer barrel. That way if you accidentally press undo, the barrel's gone and not your whole ship. Well, that's the end of segment 2. Next up will be segment 3, and it will be adding life support to the ship and collecting resources that are essential for the ship to function. We're now moving on to segment 3 of episode 1, where we teach you how to get the basic resources and life support for a ship so that it can go into space and not have you suffocate to your death. Not a fun thing. So let's go into Capital Bay 1? No. Capital Bay 2? No. 3. There we go. One of our admins, Wolf, has kindly set up a display for you. All of these, which are used for life support and resource gathering, can be found in CAF. Generate, no, not CAF System 2. Life support generators, and then you've got all of these. So first of all, we've got the climate regulator in environmental. This is what's used to create, as it says, a habitable environment in space. And with a wire input, you can see that we can control it on, we can set its radius, its gravity, and its maximum oxygen levels through wire mod, which we'll learn about in a later episode. Now, onto the storage caches. As these are used to store power, oxygen, etc. So they've got energy, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, heavy water or deuterium, regular water, carbon dioxide, and liquid nitrogen. Obviously the size of the tank depends on how much it can hold, and you can have multiple tanks in a ship to hold even more resources. Next up is the core of everything, the resource node. This is found in CAF and then resource nodes. Now the size of the resource node is its range. See, the number there is how many units it has of range. This is the largest one at 2048, and this is the one I recommend you use. Now onto the large water pump. This is how you get water. So this would be placed in the water over here, and it would be linked up to the resource node. And then something else that produces energy, like a wind turbine, would be also hooked up, and that would produce this, or provide this with energy to take water. This has wire inputs as well on the overdrive, so you can set it to work in overdrive mode, mute so it's completely silent, or the multiplier so you could have it working at 100 times efficiency. But that would make it so, say if it was 1 energy unit per war, I don't think it is, but for an example, this would then make it 100 energy units, but you would get 100 water out of it. So it's for basically filling things up quicker. Next up we've got this, the H2O splitter, one of the most important aspects for your life support. Since it would rather you didn't use, or not supposed to use these gas system 2, is these drain the gas from the environment, making planets inhabitable, or uninhabitable. So this would take in energy from, say that, and water from this, which would be in a storage tank, all linked up to a resource node. And this would provide you with hydrogen and oxygen, essential for life support. Mainly oxygen. Hydrogen's not really useful, I don't think anyway, and this is the same as the water on multiplier, mute, and overdrive. Now, steam turbine is a method of generating power using steam. The only thing is steam, you need to use power and water to create steam. So this is kind of like a little side generator, as some generators, see later on over there, produce energy and also release steam. This is a good way of harnessing that extra steam for a little bit extra energy. This has wire inputs on overdrive mutant multiplier, just like the rest. Most generators have these 4 inputs. Next up, we've got the wind turbine. As you can see, it needs to be used in the atmosphere to generate power. It's quite slow, but it's definitely one of the best for a ship that's going to be sent for a while, and as you can see, generators have no inputs, just so you can't abuse their power. Well, the wind, usually they would have an on, but obviously the wind generator doesn't, since it activates when it's in the atmosphere and turns off when it's out. Next up we have solar panels. These obviously need to be in sunlight, and they generate energy for you. Quite a bit slower than the wind turbine, but they're nice to have 1 or 2 on your ship so that while you're in space you are still generating energy and not losing it. Next up we have this, which is a admin plus. Obviously you can see it generates a lot of resources. And Wolf obviously thinks it's God's creation. Definitely a lifesaver though. And here is another type of generator you can use for energy. This takes in water and heavy water, deuterium, and generates energy, steam, and water. So obviously back here we can use the steam generator to generate a little extra power. Or I think you can do this? No, not which ones? Not that. Generators. Yeah, I'll have a look later. Here we have... oh, yep. Wolf's also kindly set this up for us. So as you can see, we've got the resource node here, a fusion reactor here turning water and heavy water into energy. Well, it's... yep. We've also got this here, and a water electrolyzer taking energy and water to make heavy water, which you could use while you were, say, out in space and you don't have access, or you run turbines, or you're running low on power and need a quick boost and you've got some excess water and energy. That's what you can use, because if you, or do this while you're on the planet, so you can turn on a fusion reactor if you're running low. That way you can get a boost of energy. And then we've got our air extractor generating oxygen and hydrogen for us, and our water pump collecting water from the water. As you see, the bottom bit here needs to be in the water for it to work properly. So that's us. Now let's go set it up on duty. Let's go get our own build bay. Let's go with Battleship Bay 1. So now we have our Advanced Duplicator 2 tutorial. Double click. Let's spawn it near the water so that we can get water from it. There we go. So now let's use here. Yeah, we can use this area. So let's spawn in. Let's start with our generating power. Let's start off with just a simple wind turbine outside. Let's go with 3. And then let's put in our resource node. Nice central location around here. That's a good place. Now to link things up, we use the Smart Link tool. You left click each of these so they're highlighted blue. That's now selected. To cancel, you press reload. Select all these with left click, and then we go to the resource node here and right click, and now notice how it says we're generating energy. So we're not wasting anything. Let's get a storage device. Now each of these can obviously, they can each hold their own resource, or you can go with a resource cache, which is a bit bigger than the separate generators on their own, but holds a lot more, like holds a lot of different resources in one. Just for simplicity you would usually use this, but just in case you didn't really want to, we will use some separate devices. Actually, nah. Better to use these since you do have a limit of how many you can put down. See, let's have 2. Let's smart link them up. Also, these auto weld, so once you fire them down, that's you. They'll be welded to your ship. So when you duplicate it, these will come with you. These, on the other hand, since they're not, aren't, and I wouldn't advise welding anything outside of the ship to the ship. It's better just to spawn a few of these in whenever you spawn your ship in. So now that we've got our energy, next up would be water. Let's go over here and spawn in our water generators, or water pumps. Let's go with a large water pump. Let's have 2. Smart link to the resource node. Oh, they're too far away. If you encounter this problem, the fix is quite simple. Just place it in another resource node. Smart link this resource node to your main one. And then smart link these to this resource node. Now these have energy. Let's just click them on. Since they're quite loud, if you want to make them muted, just go to wire, search for a constant value right here, and let's have one input set to 1, and let's have a multiplier of 10. There we go. Now you would spawn this there. Let's use a slightly bigger model. Spawn that there. Now all you need to do is go to your wire advanced tool. Hold shift to select multiple, so we hold shift for that one to mute. Hold shift, left click, that one to mute, and then wire them to 1. Let's turn them off and on to set up. Is it? It's odd. Let's try setting it to 0 then. Oh, it's not working for some reason, sorry about that. Anyway, just if that was working, it would be set to 1. Now if we set the multiplier to 10, they will now work 10 times faster. Let's have a look. See, there's our energy, and if you see our water, it's going up. Obviously, 10 times multiplier is a bit high for the... Oh, 3 wind turbines seems to keep that up just fine. That's good. So now, while they're collecting water for us, let's put down a water splitter. In CAF, generators, H2O splitter. Let's fire this one down here. Once again, link it to the main resource node. And now we can just turn it on. Oh, that's quite loud. Let's see if this one's going to play nice with the mute. Set mute to 1 and have a multiplier of 10. Now if we go to wire advanced, we wire mute to 1 and multiplier to 10. Now let's see if this wind turbines can keep up with this. Let's put it, if you press E twice quickly, you can put it into overdrive mode, which gives it an even bigger boost. And now as we can see, it's generating hydrogen and oxygen, 2 essential components of life support. So now that we've got that, let's place down a climate regulator. Oh, wolf's died. CAF, environmental control, climate regulator. Now there's 2 types. Well, climate regulator, there's one type, which you would use with your ship to create a bubble of habitability. And if you were going to a planet without your ship, you would use a suit dispenser. And as usual, smart link them up There we go. So now we can see this needs oxygen, energy, water, and nitrogen, as does this, but you don't actually need the nitrogen. I've never put nitrogen in and never had an issue. So now let's take a suit. Just press E on it. And that's you got a suit now. Now we've got, I think it's 800 seconds worth of all the resources, so now we can go to other planets if we want. So now that we've got that, to turn this on, obviously we just press it on. 1000 radius should be big enough for a ship around this size. As you can hear that there, it's just silently going away in the background. So that's us now got a habitable ship. Nice, with all the resources you really need to get habitability. Now obviously if you want, you can experiment with having some of these, like, so you could have a few of them scattered around to generate some excess energy when we disconnect from these. Now when the resource moved, and say if the resource or we warped the ship, if these become out of range, you'll hear a snapping noise coming from the resource node, which means these have been disconnected. These will also be disconnected, so let's see how well we do. Oh, as you can see, this consumes a lot of oxygen very quickly when it first creates the bubble. So how about we go a little bit over the top and give this little thing a 100 multiplier. Now as you can see how quick the energy is no longer being consumed. Oh, I guess 100 is also quick enough to keep up. That's us generating a lot of oxygen. Now let's turn this back on. See how much oxygen it uses. Yep, it uses around 4000 for its activation and uses about 4000 every few seconds to maintain itself, so it's nice to have a lot of excess oxygen and water in your ship so that you can continue generating it even when out in space. I'll let you see a little quick system of using a fusion generator. Let's turn this off since I don't need it. Turn this off and turn off those. So that's us now only generating energy. So now if we take a hydro energy generator, is that what? No. This would allow you to generate, obviously, energy in turn for water. It doesn't say it needs water though. Maybe it just does generate energy out of nowhere. Okay, let's see. Ah, there it is. Heavy water electrolyzer. So we spawn that in. Let's smart link it up. Turn it on. That should be enough just for showing you. So you would have that running while you were landed here and collecting all your resources, and you would have a fusion generator. Not that one, it's quite big. That one's also quite big, but yeah, so for tutorial purposes we'll put it over here. Now, as with everything else, smart link to the resource node. There we go, that's us all linked up and ready. As you can see though, this thing doesn't have steam holding capabilities. I guess just to stop us wasting stuff, let's take a storage device, a steam tank. Let's go with a medium tank. 2 medium tanks of... Oops. 2 medium tanks of steam. Smart link them up. And there we go. So once this would be filled, say you're out in space and obviously you're not on wind turbines and these aren't generating enough power to keep your ship running. That's where this fusion generator would come in. With your heavy water that you've generated while you were on the ground and some excess water you've got, you would just flick this on. and it would generate a lot of energy quickly, although at the cost of obviously using up heavy water and your water supplies quite quickly. So I recommend this is only on for just to fill up your energy. And that concludes episode 1 of our Spacebuild tutorial. This will be in a playlist with all the other episodes, so you can just pick the episode you want and skip along to any bits you need. Thank you for watching, and give it a like if you found it useful, put a comment on anything else you want covered, and I might make a little extra series of things that people want covered. And see you in episode 2. Oh wait. Stupid me. Forgot. If you want to save, obviously you're going to need to save this, so we would just right click it, and delete the original one, because Advanced Tube 2 doesn't like it. Save it again as Tutti. Let's just put life supported. Life support capable Tutti. Save that. Files. It doesn't like long names, so let's just put Tutti ls. What's wrong with it? ls Tutti. Odd. Try spawning it in here. Doesn't say there's any issues. Let's just try saving it as Tutti then. Get rid of the description. Oh. Right click it, let it ghost. Sorry about this. This doesn't usually happen. Let's save it in tutorial. There we go. Sorry about that. And remember, like if you enjoyed, comment on any ideas you have, and see you in episode 2, I guess.